The following is a presentation of iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Live tonight from Daytona Beach, Florida, it is the All-Star Sim Racing Manifold Truck Series that kicks off the Daytona weekend. As always, happy to have you along with us here on LSRTV and the Thursday Night Trucks. And we say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the Daytona International Speedway. Along in the booth, myself, Austin Coop, Kelly Dahl, and Cisco Scarmuzza down in the production trailer, giving the picture to you and having the cameras rolling and being steady. Kelly, we're at the high banks of Daytona, going with the All-Star Sim Racing League, as they have gone 18 rounds here already.
Yeah, and as some people out there may know, I am a huge fan of the super speedways, and Daytona's just got a special flair to it. I mean, it's just kind of the prestige the track itself brings. Every driver wants to win at Daytona, even if it isn't the 500 in their league. Just they win at Daytona is just such a special thing, and in these trucks, it'll provide a very exciting race. I love the draft package in these trucks. These trucks can get very racy with each other in the current build that we have in the sim. So I expect to see quite the race tonight, and at some point, we're gonna get to see some fireworks here tonight.
Whether it's during the middle of the race or at the end of the race, it is nighttime for these drivers, so whoever wins will get a nice fireworks show. But like you said, with Daytona, we know there's going to be a lot of tight racing, and a lot of drivers getting very, very close, very physical on the track, bumping and trying to get their position ahead of each other, and just knowing that even if they push the person in front of them, or if they're being pushed, they can always try to get their position advanced. 65 laps tonight is what it's going to be here at Daytona, making it around 160 miles here tonight. Does that kind of change your game plan going into this race, Kelly? Because you do these super speedways quite often with the Super Speedway Cup Series, and this is a little bit shorter than the Super Speedway Cup Series, but nonetheless, this is still going to change the aspect of this race.
Yeah, it's a bit shorter, like you said, but they do only have a 75% fuel tank around here, so we will see some strategy come into play here tonight, especially if these if we do get some green flag runs here. I mean, we could, if this field has to come in for green flag pit stops, that will spread out the field quite a bit. However, with these trucks, I don't care how skilled of a driver you are, the cautions will happen because just how close these trucks will be to each other. I mean, it doesn't take a huge mistake to cause a big wreck, and someone could just slightly nudge their wheel just wrong, maybe have to sneeze in the middle of a corner, and boom, half the field's gone. So anything can really happen here tonight.
Point standings is up on the screen here. Jeremy Bazemore, he is the leader with 596 points, and you've got David Dolliver 26 points back, with Kurt Rittenberg, Jamie Rittenberg, and Josh Cheney being your top five. Those drivers have been consistently in the field up towards the front, but when you talk about drivers that have been doing really, really well, you've got to look at the driver who's won the most races, which is going to be, looks like Chris Jennings has won 3 times this season. He's 11th in the standings, but that's because he's only ran 10 races. It's a pretty astounding statistic right there to note. He's right there in 11th, 199 points back, but he's been a very, very good, consistent racer here, as qualifying is shortly running out.
I, for one, like the chances of Scott Brotherton. I mean, he won the season opener in Daytona, and you can't really predict these races all that much. I mean, Brotherton isn't sitting at the top of the qualifying standings at this moment. He's currently sitting at 6th, But in my experience, qualifying doesn't really matter at super speedways. What matters is the knowledge of the driver. They have to know how to work that draft. So it really, with the seeing that Scott Brotherton's already won here once this season, he obviously knows what to do in these situations and at this track. So expect to see him make some moves, get himself up to the front of that field at some point tonight.
Chris Jennings will get the pole. We just talked about how he's been very good lately, and he is going to get that spot with a 50.160. Right next to him on the outside of row number 1, Blake O'Connell. He will start in the second position. Jimmy North and Mike Payton will start in the second row, and then Mike A. Perry starts 5th with Scott Brotherton to his outside. In the 6th position, Jake Finch starts 7th with Chris Sweat to his outside in 8th place, and then Michael Koenig and Chad Schilling will finish out the top 10, 9th and 10th.
At 11th, we will see the 57 of Jeff Gilmore. 12th, we'll see Wes Stout. 13th goes to Kurt Rittenberg. 14th, the 19 of Cody Speicher. 15th to James McKee. 16th, Dale Island Jr. 17th, Edward Burrell. Josh Cheney lines up in 18th. 19th, we'll see Matthew Miller. And rounding out our top 20, the 97 of Blake Neer.
Starting 21st is Matthew Cox, and to his outside, Richard Fletcher is going to start in the 22nd position with Jeremy Bazemore 23rd. The remaining drivers did not take a tie, so that'd be Randy Roberts, David Dolliver, Jeremy Rittenberg, Doug McCullum, and Kevin Mass here tonight. They will round out your 28 car field here tonight, and we'll go a little bit on your track facts. It's the high banks of Daytona. We'll be seeing a lot of this lately, whether you're on the sim or looking at the real life version of this track. It's 2.5 miles, 4 turns, and 31 degrees in the banking, and 18 on that tricky tri-oval with 2 on the back straightaway. And here we go. These guys are about to get off pit road here shortly, and the intensity is already starting to get on there.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a little bit of nerves down in those trucks right now. It was just the excitement of waiting to roll off here and really do battle here at Daytona. We talked many times, it's such a unique track in the fact that you aren't really racing by yourself. You have to work with those other drivers to get to where you want to go. You can't just be out there by yourself hoping to make a name for yourself. You have to work with the guy in front of you, help push him along, and maybe later in the race when you need that last gasp to get to the front, maybe if you try to make that risky move to the outside, maybe you'll see the truck you pushed earlier pop up in your rearview mirror.
Yeah, I'll definitely go to you for quite a bit during this race to talk about just how these super speedways work. I think whenever you talk about drivers and anybody who would be extremely knowledgeable about this, we've got you in the booth to have that covered. So
as you do remember, I've never won here, right?
Your chance might come here shortly, but maybe next season we'll have to come and see. But as these guys go down the back straightaway, I mean, they've already had one super speedway race, and we see how this can maybe be the race that will bring a driver out of the kind of out of the back. Driver who's not typically towards the front in those 1.5 miles or the short tracks, come up here to Daytona where the draft package is good. If they play the right game, if they play the right cards, they may just have it in the end.
Yeah, you never know. There are those dark horses in the field that the draft package and can really make things happen, even if they can't quite make them happen on some other tracks. So expect to see.
Go green here, the 88 of Chris Jennings. He will start these guys here tonight for
side. The 67 really needs some help to make up some ground here.
Yeah, 2 trucks out towards the very front. 88, 84, Jennings, North. They are really pushing the bottom side, but it looked like the 08 right there. That's going to be Mike Payton. He looked to the inside for just the moment of that outside or the outside line, maybe wanting to make it 3 wide. It's a little early for that, but that outside line is starting to form up. Looks like there's 2, now maybe 3 cars. Put Mike A. Perry in the middle of those guys, and he's going to be pushing on the bottom of the track as well. That top side does not have enough driver to really get up there, but they're getting a little bit separated here. That 10 is not able to get to the 84 as well as they continue to go down the back straight on turn number 2.
Yeah, and we saw going into turn 3. It looked like the 67 just didn't quite hit his turn-in marks there. It looks like it just kind of caught him off guard. He swung a little high. The 08 luckily just stayed on behind him instead of going in. But here comes the 67. He's starting to gain some momentum, but just as he does, the outside line drops away from him. He's got no draft help now, and the momentum is gone for that 67, and the 88 will still sit with his comfortable lead. 2 truck lengths now.
The 84 and 88 are hooked up very well together. You can see that they've got themselves a really big push, just those 2 trucks right there. And they're seeing a little bit of squirrely action behind them, which is actually able to get those drivers a little bit closer. They're able to push a little bit more further back. They've had a little bit of an issue there, but doesn't look like it's going to disrupt any of their action. This entire pack out here towards the front is about 1 second away from each other, so looks like a little bit more action there throughout the pack, but outside lines did not go.
Big wreck takes out the back half of the field.
Oh my goodness, huge wreck. 23-24 still involved, 0-0. It looks like the 97 of Blank Near. We'll get a replay up here just shortly, but big problems for multiple drivers here tonight already on lap 3. A replay coming up showing you exactly what's going on.
Yeah, it just looks to me here like there's a bit of a checkup on the high side, and it looks like I think the 16 might be the truck there that just got sandwiched and sent him down to the low side. He turns the guy in front of him on that low side, and that just creates a roadblock of trucks just filling up the entire track. And with no reset here tonight, that's going to end the nights of a good number of trucks. I see a lot of smoke down there.
Yeah, and it almost looked like the 17 just didn't. It almost looked like he decelerated completely, like let out of the gas, and had that truck just completely stopped for some reason. So unsure why that happened. He hit the 22, like you said, and then after that, it looked like there was no power in the 17 whatsoever. Massive crash, and a lot of drivers. Yeah, like you said, at night it's over, but there's a lot of drivers that did a really good job. The 26 did a really good job getting through there. That's going to be Jeremy Rittenberg, and he started all the way back in 28. So a big a number of positions that he got from that wreck and from the beginning of the race. So for a lot of those drivers, it's already over, and they put the curtain down. But look down pit road, the 84 Jimmy North, he's going to come down pit road. Maybe he's trying to do some fuel strategy here. Doesn't look like too many other drivers. Looks like we got the 57 of Jeff Gilmore coming down, and then a lot of drivers towards the back that may have damage are coming down as well.
Yeah, I don't expect these guys to take tires. I mean, at least in the Cup cars, I can't say too much with the trucks in this latest build, but the Cup cars, we didn't have very much tire wear, at least for the setups we were running. So you could get away with using a set of tires for nearly half of a 100-lap race, and you wouldn't really lose that much grip. But the 84 decides to take 4 fresh Goodyears. But, you know, maybe later on, maybe that was just to see his tire wears. He used those first opening laps, change the tires, and now he can look through his black box to see what the tire wear looks like, and maybe gauge if the left side's going to be wearing more than the rights, or if he can just get away with taking no tires instead.
Yeah, this is a fixed race, so these guys are going to be having the exact same thing happen to them, because there's absolutely no difference within setups between any of these trucks. So if you've got a teammate out there, say you're the 88, and someone farther back in the pack was just running, and then get the data, the valuable data that you need to come down pit road and say exactly what's going on with their truck as well, permitting that there's no damage. But looks like 4 trucks are already 1 lap down, possibly ending the night. That's going to be Matthew Miller, Blake Neer, D. Cox, and David Dolliver. They are 1 lap down, possibly going to go on 2. Looks like Blake Neer has actually already packed up the truck, and they are gone. So tough night for all these four drivers, and maybe more, because there's a lot of drivers that still have damage there towards the back, and I'm sure they're going to keep getting them repaired. That's the thing about super speedways. You never know what's going to happen. It may happen early, it may happen later, and it struck quick.
Yeah, it looks like Matthew Cox is also calling a night. But another thing with these super speedways, you have such a long time on these pace laps, you can get a lot of damage repaired under yellow without going a lap down. However, with Daytona, the aerodynamics is so picky, you need to have pretty much a perfectly clean truck to be able to challenge for that lead. You can have a small amount of damage and be able to maybe hang on to the draft and move up the field a little bit, but to be able to go for the win, that truck has to be spotless. So for a lot of these guys that are just involved in that accident, just maybe got a minor bump or something, that could still spell the end of their night. So really, we whittled down our competitors here by quite a sizable amount.
As we're rounding lap number 6 here at Daytona, we do want to remind you that the All-Star Sim Racing League is sponsored by Scott V Images and Oliver & Company. Oliver & Company is a mobile fleet repair providing 24-hour roadside service in East and surrounding counties. And so go and check them out on Facebook to get more information on both of those companies. And as always, we enjoy having new leagues, even if it's in the middle of the season here, Kelly, and definitely those sponsors help these guys bring the action to LSRTV and just get the series moving forward as day-to-day productivity throughout the league. So with that being said, Chris Jennings continues to hold the lead under caution. Lap number 6, he's led them all so far.
And we've only got currently 21 trucks left on the lead lap with Dale Island Jr. Gonna have to take a look. He is in the pit, so he might be losing a lap here. We might go down to just 20 trucks on the lead lap. So really, when we had 28 start this night, that wreck took out a large number of our competitors here. And that's just another thing with Daytona. You've got that pack racing. The big one's going to come up and rear its head at some point tonight. And unfortunately tonight, it was very early in the night that we had these guys get taken out.
It was early. It was vicious. But lap number 7 is going to be the one to go signal from the iRacing official pace car here, going to turns 1 and 2, doubling these trucks up. Some damage in the back, but even if they're damaged, they've still got a long way to go. If you're in that situation being in the back of the pack and you've got possibly a damaged truck on your hands, there's still a light at the end of the tunnel, knowing that if you've got a car that's not handling very well, then, or a truck that's damaged, then I guess the plan at this point is to stay in the back, and if there's another caution to really benefit off of it, if the truck is too ill handling at this point, Kelly.
Yeah, like I said, you can't really challenge for the win with damage, but I mean, a lot of these guys will have to feel out how much damage they've got. You could still hang off the draft, maybe help your teammate by pushing him a little bit, but it's, for these guys, some of them, it's just going to be too much. It's going to be like you're dragging a parachute out there, and unfortunately some of these guys might even be only able to lap this track at 160 miles an hour.
So the top 5 is going to be Chris R. Jennings, Blake O'Connell, Mike A. Perry, Mike Payton, and Jake Finch. And that's going to be just shortly maybe changing here as the iRacing official pace car does start to look a little farther away from these top drivers. He's going to duck down to the safety of pit road. These guys will get to green racing for the first race start of the night, and they are green with the American Ethanol green flag in the air. 67 does not get a good start on the outside. It's typically pretty difficult to see on the inside, and he's going to have the 10 of Mike Perry. He's still right there on the inside, pushing away to the 80 of Chris Jennings in turn 1.
Yeah, but that 10's got to be careful. If he pushes like that for too long, those engine temps will rise, and that could spell the end of his night, because we saw in the Super Speedway Cup race last Friday, a lot of these guys, they didn't have an eye on that temp gauge, and they blew their engine, completely killing their chances tonight. So yes, you've got to be nose to tail as much as possible, push that guy in front of you, but keep an eye on your temperatures, because you're gonna have to poke your nose out to keep those things down.
Not only just knowing the temperature and the distance, but also the damage possible that can happen between hitting a driver in front of you too much. And when you're going 187 miles an hour, which is what Chris Jennings is at the start-finish line, that does start to spell trouble as well, because there's nothing you can do when you've got that grill all covered up. So the first 3 drivers right now kind of stretching their legs a little bit. The 32 of Jake Finch almost clearing the 25 of Chad Schilling, who's up from 5th, or up to 5th position from 10th. Trying to get 4th position here, maybe 3rd. He's got a really good truck right behind him. Yeah, that 67 truck, he's giving a really big push. So good, he's almost going to get in front of him. The 25 of Chad Schilling, a huge push from the 67 right there, Blake O'Connell. And they are still side by side. The outside doesn't have the push it needs, but wow, that was a really good push there, Kelly. And that was just on the 2nd lap of the restart. And we know that with the way these tires get, the outside line will start to get going with the push. So also got to look at the 10 car. 10 truck. He's starting to slide around a little bit, so might be something to look at.
He was 3 rows back at least at the start of that backstretch. That 25 had a huge run with the 67. I looked into the setup these guys are using. They only have a 20% tape configuration, so these guys can push all night long. They aren't really going to have to worry about the temperatures, but the 67 there has to be careful. He's pushing a little bit on the right rear of the 25. He was not square to that truck, and as we've seen a few times before, just a slight nudge to that outside, it can upset the balance. So if he wants to push, he needs to keep himself completely square to that truck, or else he runs the risk of just wiping out the field.
Certain trucks and cars you can, certain trucks and cars you can't. This truck is a little bit more taller than, let's say, the Xfinity car, which you basically can't touch in the corners. Looks like we got a car in the outside wall farther back. Maybe that's the 84, but looks to keep it clean. But those top 2 in the those top 2 on the top side of the track, 25 and 67, they're still going toe-to-toe with these drivers up front. They've been uncontested all race, and it's been really close to the line the last few times. It's been under 1/10 of a second both times at the start-finish line for these guys. And at lap 11, we've got a lap car on the bottom, but these guys, there's just the 2 of them, and they're basically beating the 3 guys on the bottom. They just need that one more person, that one big push, and they may be able to clear these drivers.
Yeah, they need that 0.8 back there to catch up to them, or maybe that 32 to pop up to the high side and give them a push, but they were nearly completely squared on that back stretch. And this is something that's starting to form up throughout the night. We're seeing a lot of good runs off of turn 2 and that outside line. We'll see it again here. We'll see if they really demonstrate it. At least a few laps ago, that's where that 25 got his push, but here comes the bottom side. Look at that, 4 trucks completely linked together. That gives no chance for those guys on the outside to get any sort of run, but going into turn 3, they really backed off. They didn't really want to run the risk of nudging that truck in the corner and upsetting the balance.
They topped out at about 194 miles an hour there, Kelly, and that's got to be the fastest that any of these trucks have been clocked at all night. So definitely, I think whenever these trucks are hooked up and they're nose to tail, they go places. They are going really fast, and then they get disconnected again. And I think that outside line, whoever's on it needs to see that and maybe gradually sneak up to the bumper or somebody, or maybe even start a trail break. We've talked about that. Is sometimes, especially with a 20% tape, is if you can push all day and all night, you just got to be on that bumper, and your cars will almost act as one and start to really slingshot yourselves forward. So that outside line's still coming back all the way back up to the 2nd row now, but it's Chris Jennings. He's led every single lap, and he's the one to watch really, because he's won 3 races in 10 starts that he's had this season. So
but watch the 25 now.
Yeah, look at him right there. He's on the top side. He gets you clear him right there. And there he goes, 25. He's going to be the new leader, and he has not led a lap yet this race. But wow, big push from the 67, and now he is going to clear him. But now he's got the 88. What can he do when he pushes?
Looks like the 10 is hanging off a little bit. Maybe he might be looking for a gap on the high side. He saw that move happening. Now maybe he's thinking, I can go up there and I can challenge these guys to lead. But there's just no room for him. Those 4 guys on the top side, they're really linked together, no gap. But look at the 88, all the way up to the bumper of the 25. He is pushing that truck hard.
Yeah, maybe he's hoping that he can put the 25 out so far that he can go around the outside of the 25, which he's getting pretty close to. Yeah, he's gonna try and go to the outside right now, and he's showing the move, but it's not quite there. He needs just a little bit more help. That 10 might be there to do it, and he peeks out just another time. That outside line's not there anymore. The 88's trying his very best. There he goes. He's gonna go to the outside, and the 67's gonna pick him up, and the 25 is gonna have no help. 88 back to the outside of this one. What a good move, but he's gotta clear him, or he's gotta get to the line first in order to execute this pass. And looks like he's gonna get a huge push. The 67's gotta feel bad for the 67. He's been the hammer, but he's not been the nail in this one. So give another lap to the 88. Yeah, he's not gonna clear him just quite yet, but he's gonna lead that lap. Whoa, huge issue for the 88 almost there. He got really wiggly when the 67 got into him right there, and that's gonna lose a lot of momentum. So the 25 truck, he's gonna get back to the lead.
That 88, I think, just made the move at the wrong time. It might eventually work out for him because the bottom line isn't quite as built up as the high side, but if he wanted to make that move, he had to make that move off of turn 3, but no one was quite there just yet to push him. So he made that move late. Yes, he did get himself established on the front row of that outside line, but he just didn't have the time to make the momentum, to get the momentum. That outside line's going to have the advantage down the front and back stretch, but around the corners, the inside line is going to be dominant. If you're wanting to make a move to the outside, it's got to be you got to utilize that run off the corner. You can't do it right before you jump into the turn.
These trucks are rounding lap 17, and Chad Schilling led another lap, so that'll give him 2 laps on the board. And then you go and look at the 88. He's still on the outside, getting a huge push from the 67. Like you said, sometimes it takes a little bit of time to gather up, and he slices down in front of the 25, gets the lead back, and he definitely secures that one. As the 67, he's been pushing these guys to the lead, and I'm sure he wants to get to that lead eventually, but he's going to have someone good enough to push him. That 08 might be the right guy to do it. Mike Payton, he's come up through the ranks. He went back and then went back to the front, and he's in 6th place right now, started in 4th, so got to look at that driver to see what he can do. Had a fast truck in qualifying, and was fast in practice, 5th fastest, as they're encountering a lot of traffic here in just a little bit. That looks like it's going to be James Nee, who will possibly go a 2nd lap down. He's going to the very top side of the track to let these drivers go by. He'll be trying to hang on and not go another lap down after this one, but that will put him 2 laps down, and it looks like Josh Cheney's another lap down as well.
Now what that 67 needs is these guys to bunch up on that high side. He needs to make sure they can get a run formed before they lose enough ground that maybe the 25 or the 10 jumps out in front of him once again. So he needs both the 08 to be on his bumper and that 3 truck to be pushing that 08. And it looks like he might get his chance here. The 10 is dropping back quite a bit. He's going to pull even now coming into turn number 1. He's got to hope for a good run off the corner, and maybe he could get this his chance to take the lead of this race down the backstretch.
Yeah, these guys are getting very close to each other. Almost no room between some of these trucks. But look at the 10. For some reason, I think the 10 must be giving the 25 a larger shot than anybody. Actually, look at the 67. He is finally taking the lead right there. Slices the nose off the 88, and the 88's going to try and look above. Does not have the room quite yet over the 08. The 67 was pushed by Peyton right there, and he's going to be leading his first lap of the night here at the stripe on lap number 19, going to lap 20 here. And Blake O'Connell, 67 truck, and they're going to be in the lead. And you know, when you've got a fast enough truck to push someone to the lead, you've got a fast enough truck typically to go to the lead, and they are really putting the pressure on those guys on the outside line. The 88 is looking up towards the top of the track to get some more momentum again, and he gets a whale of a push to the 67, and he goes below the double yellow line. But that inside line is now more packed than the outside line of only 3 trucks, so definitely something to think about. And the 3 truck on the outside, Brotherton 6th to 5th, and now the 08 as well, 4th to 3rd now, and they are on the outside line.
That was pretty dangerous down the backstretch by the 88 of Jennings there. He swerved left and right, and if he would have clipped... Oh, he tags the outside. The 8, oh! He hit this. The 8 goes around.
And a lot of trucks involved in this one, and they're not done wrecking. Still more contact. 15 just had more contact, and this is going to take a lot of trucks out of this one as well. And that was right through the tricky tri-oval as we've seen, and it looks like there's even more damage right there for another truck that may have just hit the outside wall. So replay is going to be coming up. But yeah, that one happened so fast it was almost hard to tell what was going on.
I think what I'm thinking happens, I'm watching it right now, the 88 was just too high in his line and kind of just sideswiped the 08 of Mike Payton, who turned his truck to the inside. Looks like he just could not hold on to it. Comes back down at Chris Jennings, and from then on, everyone just kind of gets stacked up and caught up in that wreck.
Yeah, and the 15, oh my god, that thing almost went in the fence almost like Jeffrey Bodine's a long time ago. So that was really a lot of trucks involved, but also, you know, whenever they're racing that close in the tri-oval and any small mistake happens, that will happen. So the 88 will not win another one tonight. Led the most laps so far in this race, and this again changes the complexion of this race. A lot of drivers that were out towards the front of this race have to call it quits.
Yeah, and I'm gonna expect to see pit stops this time around from the entire field. They can't have too much left in those tanks, so I'm sure everyone's going to come down. We'll have to see who's going to make that call, if they're going to take 2 tires, 4 tires, or maybe take the gamble on no tires. But I don't know, it was a bit of a bad wreck there, but it was much worse than it needed to be. There's a lot of drivers that just kept their foot in it, trying to see if they could find a gap when there was really nothing there, and just piled themselves into that wreck when they could have just lifted off, maybe scrubbed the brake a little bit and snuck their way through there.
Lap number 22 is what we're on. Blake O'Connell survives the mayhem right now. We'll see whether these drivers come down for service here. Looks like the 00 right there is possibly going to get the wave around or a wave by or something. Looks like he just passed the leaders right there. Does look like the 67 is going to come down, and they are going to come down for service. Scott Rotherton, Schilling, Stott in the 4th position, and Gilmore, he's in 5th place. Some of these drivers come up a long ways to get up to this point, and some of those drivers are actually damaged here in this top 5, so we'll just have to take a look at those and see what goes on their pit stops. Top 5s are in the pit road, and they will do service right here.
Yeah, we'll have to see what these guys pull out here. Looks like the 67 is opting to go for tires. I didn't see if anyone behind him pop their sides up. Looks like the 3 is down and away first. He will clear the 67 easily and win that race off of pit road. So the 3 will now take control of this race. I think he might have opted for a different strategy. No, he did go for 4s. The 67 just messed up his pit entry there, slid through the boxes a little bit too much, and that just gives the race over to the 3 of Scott Brotherton.
Yeah, 67 actually went through his stall, and that's going to be a lot of time lost, but it's not too terrible. He's still up there towards the front and does not have a damaged truck like a lot of other drivers do. And when you're at this point in the race, sometimes if you have even a slightly damaged truck, getting it fixed and getting back out there could be just as easily beat your competitors here as these guys are on lap 22. We'll take a moment here at this time from Daytona International Speedway to take a little bit of a break. We'll be back with you in just a moment. Welcome back to the Daytona International Speedway as we are witnessing the All-Star Sim Racing Series, or Manifold Truck Series perhaps. They are going under caution on lap number 25. Scott Brotherton, he takes over the lead as we saw the 67 went through his pit stall, and we also noticed a couple of pit strategies throughout the field. 13 cars now on the lead lap of 28 as we are preparing to go back to green flag racing here. Pace car down and away, and we are green. Looks like the 17 may have had a penalty, had to come down for pit service. And that has really spread out the field here. Top 4 drivers very spread out. Very interesting start here as 3 now no longer has any push from behind. The 67 wants to go to the lead, and we are 2 by 2 for the first 4 spots.
Looked like Edward Burrell, he's actually 12 laps down and just was in the mix there. I think he was just trying to get himself out of the way, and that really does shake things up. The 67, he's got a great push from the 19 of Cody Speichers out there. Yeah, Scott Brotherton, he's got nothing he can do to defend. It looks like both of them might be able to clear, and they will. The 67,
Barely.
Blake O'Connell, takes the race lead, and he brings the 19 truck along with him. So now we are down to a single file race. The 3 now gets up to the bumper of that 19. It looks like the 26, he needs to find himself a way to get back up to that 3 truck if they want to maybe go on the counterattack here.
And the more they fight, the more they start to bring all the other drivers back into this one. So look about how that goes with the 3 trying to outside. He's going to bring that 26. The 09, look at him. He has come up through the field, and he's got a very clean and pristine car right there. And he is on the bottom in 3rd place right now, trying to get that bottom side moving. Knowing he's got a fast car, slot him back to 4th. Actually, so 3 is still on his outside, but wow, that's a really quick moving 09 car right there. And the 19 in front of him actually has a little bit of damage, so I'd assume that if he knows that, I'm sure they're going to probably try and go to the outside and see if they can maneuver around him, because that 19 can only do so much. That outside is still there, though. They are still pushing. The 26 is trying everything he's got. That's Jeremy Rittenberg, and he made it slightly through that wreck as well. So this top group right now looks like the top 7 going for the lead right now, lap 28.
Then that 19 may have damage, but he's holding that that draft very well, so he can definitely be an instrument these guys can use to help him along. But once he gets into that open air by himself, it may pull some drag on him. I'm not seeing too much damage on that truck. He may still have a little bit of fight left in him. But that 3, Scott Brotherton, he needs some help on that high side. 2 trucks cannot beat 5 trucks here at Daytona.
Yeah, when you're that 19 of Cody Speicher, you've got that front end damage, but it's not that big of a deal because the aerodynamics on the front of the truck don't matter when you've basically got all the wind knocked out of the way from you by the 67 of Blake O'Connell. It does have a little bit when you peek out of the sides, just maybe to get that engine a little bit of cooling. But that 19 is able to push because of that draft, which is really helping. But that outside line's almost going to give up here right now. The 09's really pushing on the bottom, and he's going to get to the 19, but outside still pushing. And look at these drivers on the outside. They are very committed to this outside line. They are not going to the bottom for any reason, and they very much could. And they could probably push that bottom line through, but it looks like, as I said, that the 32 does want to go down the bottom and change that.
Yeah, but look at the 26 there, Jeremy Rittenberg. When he got into turn 3, as they entered turn 3, he was right on the bumper of that 3 truck, but went over a truck length off of that bumper as they went through the corner. That completely killed any momentum that outside line had built up down the. Oh, here comes the lap truck, and they took a long time deciding to go to that outside, and that was nearly some problems for these front pack here. That really split up this group quite a bit. Look at the 09. He's going to slip up in front of Brotherton, and it's his turn to make a move for the front. He's got a bit of momentum. He's going to pull up to the rear bumper of the 19 truck, and the 3 hesitating, maybe looking to see if he can go to the inside and leave that 9 out to dry, but he will stay committed. He will help push him. The 19 not keeping his truck on the yellow line. He swiped up a couple times, nearly took out the 3 there, and there's a few laps going through the trial mode that he did that as well. And look at the momentum these guys are doing. The 3 of Brotherton pushing that truck hard, and that will allow the 09 to get clear. He's not going to make a move. They're now going to go 3 wide into turn 1.
Oh, he's got to shut the door, and he does. The 09 knows that that was a little too much room for the 67. You give someone an inch like that, and they'll take it every time. So 67 has tried to get to the very bottom of the track. The 09 of Randy Roberts, he definitely gets that block maneuver. He's now leading his first few laps here, and number 3 on the outside has no push. He's hardly had any issues tonight. Really has gone kind of unnoticed at this point. We talked about him a time or two so far, but that number 3 machine started in 6th up to now 4th place as these guys get behind him. But look at the 88 of Chris Jennings. He was a part of that last accident and or that last caution. He went up the track and oh my goodness, lap traffic is plaguing these lead lap drivers. I'm unsure if they are aware of how fast they are coming up through the field, but my goodness, that was very, very close for these lead lap drivers. But I'll tell you what, when they see something like that, they get single file real quick, don't they?
Yeah, now look at the 67. He's gonna try his luck, move to the outside. That 19 is gonna follow him once again, and the battle lines are drawn. The 3 is gonna help the 09 once again, but looks like the 67 will have that momentum. Can't quite clear just yet. He's just matching bumper to bumper. The 09 of Randy Roberts will hold on to it, but now we'll see if O'Connell's got that momentum down the front stretch. Not quite. That 3 of Scott Brotherton pushing that truck of Randy Roberts very well, and Roberts will hold on to the lead that time around.
This is still exciting racing towards the front with these guys, and it's changing every single lap which driver's got the advantage. And now the 67 is going to be dropping back because he's got no help on the outside line, and those guys in the bottom are not wanting to do that. And it looks like either they are starting to calm down a little bit, or whether are unsure whether they're still really going at it and just don't have the opportune moment right now to make that move. But that 88 that was just involved in the accident had a little bit of right front damage and did spin through the grass. He came and got 4 tires service on the machine and is back out there in 3rd position, right where he was when that caution flag happened. Looks like we got 1 car, and a lot of other cars are coming out trying to get as many positions as they can under caution, though these top 7 still doing battle within half a second of each other. Cannot forget, but there's a lot of other competitors still on this track. We saw them dice out of the way and the leaders were passing by, and they are still racing out there. It's not just the fact that they are laps down trying to just log laps. Some drivers are still on the same lap here, 12th through 13th and 14th. They are still on the same lap, and then 18th through 20th, they are on the same lap as well. So battles are still happening, even if it's not for the same part of the track.
I'm honestly surprised to see that 88 up here. That truck looked pretty banged up as he, after that caution when he went into pit road. Looks like he still has some damage, at least to the rear end, but he is holding on quite well. He's pushed himself up into 3rd, but now it's a huge gap between him and the 3. And we know the 19 also has damage, so we've got to wonder if it's maybe that's plaguing these guys a little bit. It's allowing the 09 and 3 to kind of run off a little bit. We'll have to see if 88 can really gain some momentum here and close that gap. It looks like it shrunk a little bit that time around. Now that he's getting closer, yeah, he might have a bit more fight left in that truck. As the 67 getting closer to that bumper of the 19, they're really starting to form a pack here, and maybe they can get momentum next time around. And oh, here comes the 3. He's going to take a look to the outside. He's going to see if he can get a move, but no one's going to go out to help him. And if he wants to back out of this, he's got to go, and he misses his chance. So the 3 stuck all on his own on the outside. Scott Brotherton made a gamble, went to see if anyone would push him to the front, and everyone decides, no, the bottom side is good for me. The 88 moves himself up into 2nd. The 3 moves himself back in the field.
While the 3 is moving back towards the field, got to mention the 40 of Mass and the 1 of Jerry Bazemore. They are hooked up in 8th and 9th place, 15 seconds behind this lead pack here, and they are still they're working together here. And we have a good feeling that these drivers will have to come down pit road after between now and the end of this race. 65 laps. They've got to go 30 more laps, and these trucks cannot go that distance. So they are 15 seconds back, and cannot forget about these 2 drivers. If they team up, work together, and come down pit road at the same time, they may be something to talk about later on in the race. So 40 and 1 8th and 9th place right now, still working together as they crossed into lap 37. And while they cross the start-finish line, our leaders are already halfway down the back straightaway. So that shows you the difference. And while I say that, looks like the battle for the lead, the 88 of Chris Jennings with a damaged truck has come back to the lead here, and he will continue that lead. And I'd say what an impressive job. You said you were surprised he was even up here. I'd say you're even more surprised he's even leading now.
Yeah, it is quite surprising. There's some damage to that truck and to the truck pushing him, and looks like the 09 utilizing that side draft. The 19 cannot hold a line, though. He's coming up way off that yellow line quite often. He's nearly sideswiped that truck on the outside a number of times. Look at the 09 utilizing that side draft, and Roberts here is just pushing and holding on to whatever he can. He's now cleared the 67, even with the 19. Whoa!
Oh! I'm unsure of that. Wow, looks like that car just pushed up the track, and I've never seen anything like that. And the 09 has severe damage to the outside of his truck. The caution flag was flown even before anything happened, but I'm almost certain that's the reason because of it. But 09 and Randy Roberts, he's going to have a hard time getting it back up with these guys. He's got severe right side damage.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, that looked like a very severe case of netcode there. There was some serious issues with that 19 truck, and it just went, it wasn't even like it drove right. It just suddenly went completely sideways into the wall and just sandwiched that the 09 up there. And unfortunately, that might do a good chunk of damage to that 9. I don't think he's got engine damage. If he's lucky, there's nothing really to the, there could be nothing to the internals, but that right side is just completely pancaked after that.
The actual caution was not for that. I thought it was a little odd, and it was actually for some action that happened in the tri-oval. It's like the 25 of Chad Schillings went up and over and into the fence a little bit here at the start-finish line right here in front of us with Mike Payton. They were one lap down, fighting for position, actually, and just kind of chaos ensued there in the tri-oval between these drivers on lap 37. Even if it's for a lap, even if they're lap down, they're still going for it, and that was probably the end of the night for both those drivers.
Yeah, that was, I don't know how to explain the actions at the 08 there. He just got alongside the truck and just hooked into the right rear and threw that 25 into the wall. I didn't see any smoke from the 25. He might be able to patch it up, but after putting on top of the damage he's already got, that's definitely going to put a hamper on his chances. Look at the 09 braking early going into pit road, the 88 getting a great jump into the pits. Hopefully he didn't come in too fast on his entry, so he could have a chance here. The 09 gonna have to take a lot of time to fix his damage. Isn't quite square in his box either, so if the 88 can get a clean stop, he will come away with this lead. 67 behind him, struggling to get in his box once again. First time around he slid through, this time around he stops too short, so 67 gotta dial in those pit stops. Luckily he's making these mistakes under caution and not under green.
And he almost got the 88 right there at a pit road, and that was very close between those two. So 88 does emerge first out of pit road, but not
the
after.
The race is actually won by Jake Finch.
Yeah, exactly what I was about to say. The 32, Jake Finch, I think maybe played some strategy here on pit road. It looks like he took right sides only and is going to stay out there. I'd say that's a really smart call if you want to be at the lead, because of the fact that I don't think this is I don't think he's led a lap yet, and if the series awards bonus points, and he can get bonus points and have a shot at getting the lead. So we've passed the halfway mark of this race with this caution. We do want to remind you that the midway race break is brought to you by iRacing, the leading online simulation. Developed from the beginning as a centralized racing and competition service, iRacing organizes, hosts, and officiates races on virtual tracks all around the world. In the fast-paced world of esports, iRacing is a one-stop shop for online racing with officially sanctioned racing from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, World of Outlaws, Cars Tour, USAC, and many, many more. And so we'll go through your full field rundown as we are on lap 40, going to lap 41. Chris Jennings, he is your leader. Cody Speicher, he's in the second position. Blake O'Connell is in third. Jake Finch, just talked about him. He'll actually give me just a second as this starts to roll out. Jake Finch will be the leader over Chris Jennings here, and then it looks like Blake O'Connell, he'll be in the third position. Jeremy Rittenberg will be in the fourth position. Scott Brotherton 5th. Cody Spicer now relegated to 6th. Jeremy Bazemore 7th. Kevin Mass is in the 8th position. Doug McCollum 9th, and Jeff Gilmore, he is in 10th.
11th, we see Randy Roberts, who is barely holding on to that lead lap, along with James McKee, who's actually just ahead of our leader here. Chad Schilling will be our first truck to be more than a lap down. He sits in 13th, 2 laps down. 14th is Wes Stout. 15th, Mike Payton. 16th, Dale Island Jr. 17th is Mike Perry. Edward Burrell in 18th. 19th goes to Matthew Miller. And rounding out our top 20 is the 43 of Richard Fletcher.
Remaining drivers are either out of this race or multiple laps down. 21st, Chris Sweat. 22nd is Jimmy North. Michael Koenig, he is now in the 23rd position. Kurt Rittenberg is in 24th. David Dolliver may finish out the night 25th. And then Josh Cheney, Blake Neer, and Matthew Cox finished 26th, 27th, and 28th respectively here tonight at Daytona. This concludes your iRacing Midway Race Break. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities online, visit iRacing.com to sign up today. For a limited time, you can visit iRacing.com/World of Outlaws and take advantage of some exclusive promo codes to get yourself on the sim with a 1-year membership for half off, or for 3 months for just $5. Again, that's iRacing.com/World of Outlaws. And to be quite frank with you on the service, $5 is a very, very good amount to get all the tracks and content, including dirt. So if you are interested in iRacing in any sort of way, you can get on the sim for $5 for 3 months. And then if you want to be in a league like this, just the purchase of the track and the cars, you can get in this league free. This is a free league to all iRacing members that have all the content. So definitely take a look at these guys, All-Star Sim Racing, and a lot of other leagues that we do on LSRTV, and you can check those out at livesimracing.com. Jake Finch, he leads these guys over Chris Jennings, who's been absolutely dominant. Doesn't matter what kind of shape that truck is in, he's been up towards the front tonight.
Yeah, and it's kind of surprising looking at the amount of damage all of these trucks have. There's very few trucks up in the front. I mean, looking at the top 6, I think only the 67, 26, and 3 are clean. Everyone else has a bit of damage. I mean, look at the damage to that spoiler on the 32. The rear bumper of the 32 has been completely just pushed in. And he is now leading this race after a crafty pit strategy. So with that truck behind him, that will help a little bit with that rear aero. So maybe he'll be able to get away with it. We'll have to see how well the 67 is going to be able to push him. Who knows? Maybe that spoiler is now a parachute.
I think it's either going to be a parachute or it's going to be the part of the truck that propels him forward. Although we also got to think about the fact that it is going to be a little bit angled differently. So 67 trucks has a rounded front bumper. That Chevrolet is going to have a little bit of a rounded front end, and going against not so flat bumper from Jake Finch is going to be something to look at. iRacing official pace cars down and away, and these drivers are set to go green here at Daytona. And a not so good start on the outside for the 88. 67's all over the back bumper of Jake Finch, and we are going to go towards turns number 1, single and double file here in this pack.
That 88's got a good momentum. The 67 could get clear, and he will if he could make a move to the outside coming off the corner. But this 88 is completely dying out there. That truck is going nowhere fast. He's going to duck to the inside. The 3's going to make the move off the corner with the 1 pushing him. We haven't talked about the 1 too much tonight, but Jeremy Bazemore, he's now up in this top 4, and he's pushing the 3 of Scott Brotherton to the front.
Yeah, he had a little bit of damage. I believe he was one of those drivers that was hooked up in the 8th and 9th position earlier during green flag runs, but he's in 4th, has a little bit of front end damage, but is deciding whether or not to stay with the 3 truck or not. He goes to the middle, and now it's too late. The 19's already there, has a crushed in front end, and the top 3 on the inside and outside lanes, they've kind of have to go with what they've got. They got the line on the outside, the line on the inside, and that 3 of Scott Brotherton, he's got a lot of momentum for the 1 truck behind him. So 1 truck's doing really well. Looks like he pushes up the track just a little bit right there and not able to continue to be on the 3's bumper. So looks like that inside will prevail. I think this is a really good call if you're the number 32 of Jake Finch to continue leading.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a great corner from that one truck. Got a huge gap between him and the 3, killed any chance they may have had to make a move down that backstretch. He really needs to get up to the bumper of that 3 and stay with the bumper. And look at the 67 down there. Blake O'Connell is keeping glued to the rear end of that 32. He's right up against him, but he's moving around quite a bit. If he's not careful, he could nudge that 32 just the wrong way and send that truck spinning into the infield grass. But here comes the 3 once again. Gets a bit of momentum, and then watch the number 1. He messes up his entry, backs off the corner, and just kills any momentum that 3 may have. But the 3 is utilizing the side draft quite well. Holds on to whatever a little bit here, and here comes the 1 now. He's going to get some momentum. Gives the 3 a good shot, and they're now going to get hooked up down the backstretch.
And he's got the lead right now, but the bottom side's obviously the place you want to be. If you want the shorter distance, it's really fast on that outside lane, and that 3's got it. And looks like the 1 has a little bit more damage on the front. And I think maybe he was just waiting up. He was going up a little bit higher in the corner, maybe to start getting that 88 to get hooked behind him. But I don't think the 88's really tried the bottom at all this race. And if you've got him behind you, you know it's going to happen. Look at the 3 car as well, or the 3 truck. He goes up the track a little bit before the corner, and he starts to kind of arc it in a little bit differently than the 1. And I think the way the 1 truck is, I think this is something he's going to have to deal with, is the fact that he's got a lot more damage than the 3. He's going to have to try something different. But now look at the 88. He's going to the bottom. That top side does not have any help at all. The 1 truck is just not close enough to the 3 right there. And that's going to relegate all 3 of those trucks in unison. At least the first 2. The 33 is not going to be able to get down to the bottom in time. That 40 is still going to be there, but look at the lead, the 67, he's going to jump out. We've seen this one before, and he has no help, though. So at the line, the 32 still leads, but that 67 wants the lead right now. He's got no help, though.
Now, he made that jump. He expected someone to go out with him, but it looks like the 88 at this moment, he's comfortable with just making his own way to the front. But you trust me, that 67 is going to remember this. He's going to remember that the 88 didn't help push him to the front. So now when the 88 makes a move, maybe he's not going to make that move to the outside. Maybe he'll stay to the inside and help whoever's down there. Now I'll have to see what the 88's got up his sleeve to make a move here. Maybe he's going to try to get the 3 to go up with him, or maybe wait to see if anyone's going to build up an outside line behind them, and as they come up to him, he's going to jump in front of them, ride their momentum, and have those guys push him to the front.
He's looking just ever so slightly each and every lap, and you can tell the 32's actually moved up the track just a little bit, but he's moved up enough so that he can't still get under him in the double yellow line, but so much that if he goes to the very top of the track to do so and try and pass, it's going to be that much longer of distance for him to have to take. Look at him go up the track just a little bit. It's going to get a good push from the 3 right here and may make the move, but it looks like he's going to stay tucked up under the 32's back bumper. Those top 6, 7 trucks, they are looking, and it's kind of, I think they're biding their time maybe to wait for something to happen. Waiting for their time, or waiting for someone to get up really close to make the move. Sometimes when you're in this point in the race, not that many laps to go, just a little bit over 15 laps. You don't want to make a move too soon, especially if you think it's going to go green the rest of the way here, Kelly. And with the way it looks, these trucks up front, they're still going at a really good pace. And I'd say next time by, we'll have 16 laps to go, and this will be really close between these drivers as they encounter lap traffic.
It also kind of seems like no one really trusts each other. They don't want to make that move to the outside because they don't trust that that guy behind them is going to move with them. They think that guy behind them, instead of trying to make that move, he's just going to cut underneath them. As we see, look right here, the 88 makes the move. The 3, instead of pushing him, goes right to the inside. Now the 3 stuck out there, but here comes the 67. The 67 actually is going to just wave by any problems they had earlier, and he's going to make his move. He sees his chance to maybe make a few positions here, so he may not get the lead off this, but he will at least push back push past 2 or 3 trucks as they start to get their momentum going. But look at the bottom side, those 4 black trucks, they are nose to tail. They're pushing some good momentum, so it's a bit of an uphill battle for those 2 trucks on the outside, but they are starting to make it work. They're gaining some ground. They're catching up to that bumper, the 32. We've seen the trucks on the outside have some speed down the backstretch, and we'll see how much speed they've got here. Big push down the backstretch from both lines, and they are completely even going down the backstretch.
That 67 truck absolutely has a lot of speed in it, and I'd say that if that truck's got anything to do with the lead, I wouldn't be surprised, because the 67 is extremely fast. You saw him jump back from the very end of that line and was able to just simply get to the 88's bumper, and actually had to back off a little bit just so he wouldn't spin him right there. But as we know, they're a little bit farther off these trucks, and I think is where they would be if it's 5 laps to go. So they're still going really fast, still going with the tail, and even in the corners, the 67 is pushing the 88. So not afraid to do that for sure. And every time they get off the corner, the big push from the 67 to the 88 over that one truck on the inside. Look at the 3. He goes up the track to get the outside lines push. And the 32, he's got no help from anyone behind, but with them finding the way. Look at the 67 now. He's going to push the bottom line, but the 3 of Scott Brotherton, he will get the lead. And remember what you said earlier comes true right there. The 67 now leaves the 88 to dry. He does remember it, I guess.
Yeah, and they've got the momentum now, but he can't quite get clear before that 1 catches up to the 88. Good bump from the 1, actually nearly upset the 88. That wiggled that truck a little bit. He nearly dove down into the 67, but a great timing from Scott Brotherton there. Saw the momentum forming, quickly jumped up in front, pushed ahead of the 32 before that outside line died out, and made a great dive for the front. So he's got himself a lead here, and now the 67, he's going to peak up, and the 88's going to go with him, which is, again, surprising. No, he's going to trick him. He's leaving him out to dry. So this is a bit of a rivalry forming on track, and this is what I was talking about earlier. You can have an extremely fast truck like the 67 does, but if you can't get someone to work with you, you're going to be in trouble here at Daytona.
Gonna encounter lap traffic here again. It looks like the 67's really wanting to have some help, and this is gonna be really close to these lap trucks here. And almost not giving enough space here going into turns number 1, but they do just at the last moment. They've got one more to encounter here. And look at the 88. He's looking at the top side, trying to get some momentum, maybe going into turns number 2. But he's not going to have it right there. He needs to get another person behind him. That 67 was it right there. And he's still on the outside. He could suck up to the 88 again. But I know that the 67, when he caught the 88, almost wanted to go around him, knowing the fact that he was a little bit slower. And you can see the distance between the 32 and the 88 right here, getting close to 10 laps to go with these trucks. And they are very, I think it's going to be these trucks are almost indecisive. The ones that we aren't really talking about, like let's say the 1 and the 33. We haven't talked about the 33 of Dunn McCollum all night, and he's in this one right now. And he might be the guy that actually does something that we're not expecting completely to change the outcome of this race. But look at the 88. He's going to search for help with the 67. 67 has no choice, has to push him right here as we're on lap 54, and they are actually going back nowhere fast, like you said earlier.
Yeah, it looks like the 67, like you said, he was looking to the outside, look to see if maybe he had a chance to just make a solo run, leave the 88 out to dry, but looks like he's going to be a reluctant helper here and pushing that 88 to the front. And really, as you said, any one of these guys can win it. Any one of these top 8 here can win it. We've got a few trucks just kind of hanging off the back. The 40 of Kevin Mass and the 26 of Jeremy Rittenberg. They're just kind of a little bit off of this main group here. They're not by much, by less than a half a second, but they're hanging on. But look at the 88, a great run. He's going to push to the front, leave the 67 out there. The 32, he got pushed a lot earlier by the 67. Is he going to repay the favor? No, he's going to hesitate and decide to head back down to that inside. So the 67, he's helped a lot of people to the front, but he's not getting any help from any of these guys out here tonight.
In this case, it's better be the nail than the hammer. The 67 has been the hammer for all these guys going to the front. Almost half the lead changes have been off the course of the 67's bumper. And once again, that 88 goes to the front. He was the pole seater, had that accident earlier on in the race, and now he's back up there. 10 laps to go this time by at Daytona, and he's going to get spun! No contact with any drivers, but it is going to bring out the caution. I think everyone got it through it clean. No! 67 got hit by the 32 after everything was said and done. The 26 is going to run right into him.
26 just has some target fixation there and just saw the 32 spinning, went right into him. But the 36, when he went to dodge that wreck, he went to the low side. He got in the grass, and at that point in time, he's got no brakes. He's got no steering. He can't slow that truck down enough to make that corner. And unfortunately, he's going to collect the 67 out there. So that's going to be some tough luck for the 67. He's been pushing hard all night, running a great race, but now he's no longer one of those only clean trucks out there. And looks like the 3 just got to that rear end of the 88, kind of went to the outside a bit and just hooked the right rear and turned Jennings right around. So that's definitely on the 3 right there. Brotherton just took out the 88. Looks like Jennings, though, didn't get any damage. Like you said, it looks like everyone kind of missed him. So, I mean, he's back in the field now, but we've seen him be back in the field earlier tonight. He can work that draft and try to make a run at it, but we've got 10 laps to go here. He doesn't have a lot of time.
Yeah, I was watching the 32 right there go through what happened, and if you watch it from turn 1, which is where I was, it looked like the 32 absolutely just threw it in the grass and didn't really slow down. But when you go in the end car of the 32, he had no control. He was still being pushed by the 67, and just had no control over that truck, and tried to slow down as fast as possible. When you're in the grass, you just slide. So. What an interesting thing to happen. Not good for these guys that were so close to getting a win. You know, the Jake Finch, he made that strategy call to try and get out there, try and get that track position that was oh so important. He was up there still on the bottom, and just kind of went awry just for a little bit. But the 88 once again is involved in an accident and does not really have any severe damage. No fatal damage for that truck, but under 10 laps to go. Some trucks are coming down. Looks like all those damaged trucks are coming down. 67 is down, 26 is down, and of course the 32. So all the trucks that had damage, they're down pit road.
Yeah, I'll have to see who's going to make the call here. Looks like the 88 actually stayed out. So a lot of these guys electing to just stay on the track. I guess they've got enough fuel to make it here, which is kind of surprising. Didn't know how much these 75% tanks would hold, but a lot of these guys making the call that they'll have enough fuel to bring them to the end. So these guys not going to be able to make the pit strategy call to sneak ahead. We'll have to see with what the 1 and the 33, and now the 40 of Kevin Mass. Again, another guy we haven't really talked about, just been kind of tagging along. He's now snuck his way up in the top 4.
While we round lap number 50, we do want to remind you that coverage of LSRTV is brought to you by Joel Real Timing, the official timeware software of LSRTV. Whether you spend time on the sim or behind the wheel or on the pit box of the spotter stand, Joel Real Timing is the go-to software for iRacing timing and scoring analytics. Get yourself a basic download or get the pro version today at joel-real-timing.com to get yourself signed up for either the pro or the regular basic download. So joelrealtiming.com. So looks like Scott Brotherton continues to lead the way with Jeremy Bazemore, Doug McCollum, Kevin Mass in 4th, and Blake O'Connell. He is in the top 5 now, and he was still in that top 5 group before the accident. Had that left rear get really punched in. Kelly, with damage on the truck that was as severe as the 67's when he got hit, do you really think that the 67 has got a chance to get up through this field?
Earlier I would have said no. Beyond any reasonable doubt, I would have said no. However, we've seen a number of times tonight that these guys with damage have been able to hold on to this draft and push their way up to the front. I mean, we saw the 32 for the longest time leading this race with a heavily damaged rear bumper. So the 67, yeah, he may be damaged. He may not have that clean truck advantage that he had earlier, but he still has a chance in this race.
There's a lot of other trucks that have kind of snuck their way in here. Doug McCollum at 33, we talked about him just a little bit. And Kevin Mass from the very back of the field to 4th place. That's where you'll find him, and he has no damage on that truck except for maybe just a little bit of rear end damage. And maybe not even that. Looks like the 40 truck is probably one of the only clean ones left, and that was because he wasn't a part of the front group in any of these accidents that have happened. So very, very clean truck. That's the number 40 right there. And I'd say if there's any truck out there that's got the most horsepower, it's going to be between the 33 and the 40, because neither of them have damage. If they work together, they could probably pull this one out, or pull this one off here, Kelly, because only the other 2 trucks in front of them, they've got some good damage on their trucks, on the front and the back of both of them.
We haven't seen too much of what those guys can do. The 33 kind of stuck in there, started pushing that last little run, but the 40 was hanging off of that main group. It looks like he just kind of wanted to keep himself out of the mess that maybe he saw coming, as with these laps rolled down, but now he's going to get himself in there. If he wants to get a win here tonight, he's got to make a move. We're going to have to see what he's capable of here in these last few laps.
6 laps to go is what it's going to be when they cross the start finish line, and pace car will say whether we've got 1 lap to go, and we do. They're going to have a 5-lap shootout here at Daytona to finish this one off. It will be the last restart of the night, as we know. Under 5 laps to go, it will end under caution for all these drivers here in this race on the iRacing service. So top 5, we'll just go through the top 10, as that is all the drivers that are on the lead lap right now. Scott Brotherton is in first, Jeremy Bazemore second, Doug McCollum third, Kevin Mass fourth, Chris Jennings still in 5th place despite getting spun, Jeff Gilmore in 6th place. We haven't talked about him all night. 7th is James McNee. Cody Spiker, he is in the 8th position. Jake Finch has a lot of right front damage after hitting the 67 of Blake O'Connell, and you'll find O'Connell in the 10th position. So that's your top 10. Those drivers are fighting for position, and the bottom 2, Finch and O'Connell, both those drivers are they're still trying to get back to the front of the field here, as they just got as much damage as they got as much damage fixed as they tried.
Yeah, that 67, he's got to get himself back up to this field if he's wanting to stand a chance, but it looks like he's going to have a lot of lapped cars in between it, so I don't think he's got himself enough time to work his way through the field. Looks like a truck out there is having some issues. The 5 slowed way down and nearly got below the yellow, and looks like he's got himself, whatever this problem he's got sorted, and he's going to bunch back up here.
Final restart of the night, Scott Brotherton. He will bring these guys to the green flag. iRacing official pace car off and away, and they go green here at Daytona. After 60 laps, they've got 5 more to go. Who will win? Brotherton gets a good push from McCollum on the bottom. The 33 truck's pretty hooked up. That bottom of the 1 and 40, they're starting to fall back a little bit. They've got the 88 of Chris Jennings right there as well, and that's starting to fall apart. 40 goes to the bottom. He's got his truck fixed up, and he's going to go do battle, maybe push the 88 right here.
He's going to make a move to the outside, but he's by himself. He can't really get enough speed to get around that 88. He is, though, going to have enough momentum to pull up alongside him. He's actually going to get even with him. He's going to use that side draft as much as possible. He's going to use the advantage his clean truck is going to give him. He goes a little wide in that corner, but he needs that 1 to help him out here now. But that 1 just got left out to dry by the 40. He's not really looking to help that 40 truck out now. He's going to push Chris Jennings, and these guys need to get themselves hooked up if they want to challenge Brotherton and McCollum, who have opened up quite a bit of a gap. 88 now, clear of Kevin Mass. Is he going to try to jump up in front of Kevin and get some momentum down the backstretch? No, Kevin's going to slip in between Bazemore and Jennings. So these guys, again, they're kind of having a petty squabble back there, and as they do so, the 33 and the 3, they're running away from these guys.
We do know that the 33 will not stand idle while the 3 goes for the lead, so despite those guys battling behind, looks like the 1 is going to join the 40 in the top side, give him a push. The 88 is damaged, has some rare damage on that machine, so, and they're starting to catch up to those leaders right now. Right about now at the start finish line, look at the 40 car of Kevin Mass. He's all alongside the leader right now, and he may be able to clear him here as we go into turns. Number 1 has a lot of momentum, not quite there, but that 33 truck, he is not able to push as much. He's got that front end damage, and the 88 is now behind them, so 40 had a very short-lived victory right there. It's not going to work out. He's going to have to get more help. He's going to have to get down to the bottom. That 33 and 3 combination, they are starting to run away again.
Yeah, the 40 just backed off, or sorry, the 1 to get backed off the 40 and just gave him no help there right as the 40 had a chance to take this lead. And that just left him with nowhere to go. Kevin Masters dropped right back, and now he's starting to build up something again, but the 1 truck of Bazemore, he's not pushing hard enough. He's got to get himself up there. He's got to get himself to the bumper of the 40, and he's got to stop backing out of the corners. He has to keep his foot to the ground and push that truck through the corners if they want to have any sort of a shot at taking this race here tonight.
2 laps to go here in the 40. Almost has the 88 clear out of the corner, and if he can then set his sights on the 33-3 combination, knowing that they will do battle more than likely here, Kelly. That being on the outside is going to be maybe make that a little bit different. 33 and 3 still tucked behind each other. 40 on the outside doesn't have a whole lot of help. He may have to slide in right here between himself and the 80, but he decides not to. He looks, there he goes. He's going to go right behind the 33 and the 3. We have 1 lap to go. They're single file for now. Will they be the same when they get back to the stripe?
Yeah, the 40 has to find a way around now. He doesn't have anyone to help him, but maybe the 33 will jump out from behind Brotherton and make himself a shot at the lead. Does he have the trust of the 40 behind him? Is the 40 going to try to slingshot him now? He's got a chance. He's going to poke his nose out. The 33 is not going to go with him. It is the 40 all on his own on the outside. We get the 3 and the 33 connected back there. The 88 now hooking up the 1. They don't have enough momentum to get up to these guys. 40 dropping back like crazy. It is now just the 3 and the 33 coming off of turn 4.
Coming to the stripe. Which one of these 33 drivers has it together? And it looks like the number 3 of Scott Brotherton. He will get the victory. The 33 only has so much, tried to get him in turns 1 and 2 in the back straightaway, and when they got to turns 3 and 4, had no help from the 40, and that ended up the 3 of Scott Brotherton winning this race, and he led quite a bit of it. And this is going to be his second win at Daytona. He won the opener, and he's going to win this one. So number 3 is Scott Brotherton, a hard one to beat when it comes to these Daytona races.
Who did I call at the beginning of the race?
You called the 3.
I called the 3, and for once the commentator's curse did not strike, and I'm actually surprised about that. Usually one of us will make a call on a driver, that driver will get wrecked out or some sort of bad luck, but Scott Brotherton just made the right kind of moves here tonight, and I guess he kind of earned the trust of the 33 at some point, because the 33 had him dead to rights coming off the backstretch. Once that 40 popped his nose out, if the 33 decided to go with the 40 and the 40 decided to push Doug McCollum, McCollum would have had Brotherton. So really, it's definitely goes to show, I guess McCollum trusted Brotherton enough, or liked Brotherton enough to help him win that race, and that was really the choice of the 33 there.
Yeah, it looks like that 30 truck of Scott Brotherton's just kind of ghosting that down the back straightaway as the fireworks go off. Go through your full field rundown, and we'll then go to a quick commercial break. Talk to your drivers here in just a bit. Scott Brotherton gets the victory tonight. Doug McCollum second. Kevin Mass gets third place. Chris Jennings goes to the 4th position. Jeremy Bazemore 5th place goes to him. 6th place goes to James Neate. Jeff Gilmore, he finishes in the 7th position. Cody Speicher finishes 8th. Blake O'Connell finishes 9th. And Jake Finch, he finishes 1 lap down in 10th.
11th goes to the 09 of Randy Roberts. 12th, we'll see Jeremy Rittenberg. The 22 of Wes Stout is 13th. 14th, Dale Island Jr. 15th, Mike Perry. The 17 of Edward Burrell finishes in 16th. Matthew Miller in 17th. 18th goes to Kurt Rittenberg. 19th to Chad Schilling. And rounding out our top 20, the 08 of Mike Payton.
21st finishes Richard Fletcher. Chris Sweat finishes in the 22nd position. Jimmy Norris 23rd. Michael Koenig finishes 24th. David Dolliver, he finishes in the 25th position. Josh Chaney 26th. Blake Neer 27th. And 28th finishes Matthew Cox. Finish out the 28 truck field here at Daytona. Scott Brotherton, he wins the race, and we'll be able to talk to him and if the other top 3 drivers here after a quick commercial break.
There are 3 different paths if you want to call yourself a world champion of sim racing. NASCAR, open wheels, or endurance racing. But no matter which one you take, you can guarantee that the journey will always be tough, which few will ever complete. The iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, the premier road racing series in sim racing, started with a new car taking center stage. Then, it was Martin Kroenke resisting any challenge thrown at him to break the 5-year stranglehold of Gregor Hutu as being world champion. These drivers and teams are not just competing for pride, they're competing for money. And with over $20,000 in prizes for each of the series up for grabs, drivers really do put it all on the line.
The NASCAR Beginner Series, powered by iRacing, is the premier NASCAR eSports series featuring the cars and tracks from the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. The 2016 campaign saw a return to the top of the mountain by Ray Alfalla as a 3-time Oval World Champion. The march to that championship was not easy, though, despite the fact that Ray Alfalla took home the most points in series history. It just also happened to be the tightest championship fight we had ever seen. These guys are set for the 2017 campaign.
The Blancpain GT Series hosts the top GT3 endurance teams in sim racing, with groups of 3 or more drivers sharing the wheel. This is a championship you can't win alone, and you need the same determination, passion and drive from your teammates to be successful. They often say that it takes just one mistake to lose a championship, and in team racing, it may not be your mistake that costs you the win. Last season, VRS Coanda SimSport won the championship by a single point. This year, who will step up to the plate?
These are the iRacing eSport World Championships, the pinnacle of sim racing competition. Catch it all season long with live coverage on iRacing.com/live.
Welcome back to LSRTV, where we are going to talk to Scott Brotherton here in just a little bit. He just won tonight's Daytona 160 here. Scott Brotherton, Austin Goop in the booth here, and we've got you in victory lane. And what a race you had up towards the front. You were started in 6th place, and you maneuvered your way up towards the front. And then once you got the lead on that final race start, you never really let it go.
Yeah, it was a fun race. I felt like once I got out front, I could maintain my spot. And first of all, I want to apologize to Chris Jennings if I got into him. I know we had a little bit of damage, but I was pushing really hard. And Chris is a standout driver in our league, week in and week out. And it's just coming down inside of 10 laps, and you're pushing and shoving. And not sure what happened. I'll have to go back and watch, but. It was a good race, and I got lucky on that second caution to miss the big wreck that took a lot of people out. So, just want to apologize to Chris and thank Doug McCollum for being behind me there.
Yeah, going toward on that last lap, it looked like he had a couple chances to go up towards the top, and either he was biding his time, or he did move up and you blocked him. How was it going through that last lap, knowing that you had Doug there without any damage on his truck? He had played it real smart and played it smooth through this entire race, not getting involved in any of the accidents at all tonight.
Yeah, Doug's a good plate racer, and we all know that. And it looked like he might have been having a little bit of connection issues, so he was kind of staying on the bottom. And I think it was the 40 truck, I think it was Kevin Mass, that was trying to get the outside going, and every time we get that outside going, I just try to slide my truck up just a little bit on the back stretch and keep Doug from getting up in front of him. And, it just worked out in my favor. Who knows what would have happened if we had 5 more laps or so, but, worked out.
Now, going into further on in the series, or just to basically on tonight, knowing that special race for you guys being broadcasted, did that change the game for your team, you and the three gang, and then anybody else in this race? Was there a lot of hype for you guys tonight?
I don't think it changed anything. We definitely had some hype. We're a growing. I mean, we're racing online and people have different connections, but you have one slip up and it could ruin 15 people's night. So it's a matter of luck. It's a matter of where the mistakes happen, and fortunately, I was just on the right end of it.
Well, before we let you go, Scott, anything shout-outs? Who makes it happen for you on the number 3 machine?
Rims one for sure. They're on my truck. The Burley Boar, both companies where I live. And I just want to thank my other admins that helped put this on, Josh Cheney and Jeremy and Kurt Rittenberg. Everybody puts a lot of effort into growing this series, and hopefully the race tonight helped, and we'll get some more people involved, and hopefully we'll have you guys on board for the full season next year.
There you have it, Scott Brotherton. He wins tonight's Daytona 160. We hope to be talking to you soon, Scott.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Kelly, another race in Daytona, and this isn't the last of them, but for sure this one got down to the wire for these drivers. And when you started to look at it, Doug McCollum had a chance to really get around the number 3 of Scott Brotherton, and never just found that chance to make it happen. And it's kind of like you said, if you go to the outside, someone might not go out there with you. And I think that was what the 33 may have been thinking there in that last lap.
Yeah, you never really know, and that's just the thing with these super speedways. You don't know who's going to win this race until that checkered flag drops. And even on that last lap, like you said, that 33 had every opportunity he wanted to make that move, but that 40, if he didn't have the trust of that 40, there may be something going on behind the scenes between those two. We don't know. I'm not insinuating there is, though. But he could have tried to make that move. The 40 could have undercut him. He would have lost his second place. So he had the chance of the victory. He also had the chance to drop back in the field. So I guess he kind of just played it safe, stayed in second, and held on to his position and pushed that 3 to the win. But it was definitely a very interesting and exciting race we had tonight. There were so many different, we had a bunch of wild lead changes, like a few game-changing wrecks, and really it was an unpredictable, just firecracker of a race.
That does conclude tonight's Daytona 160 here with the All-Star Sim Racing League. And this is the first of 2 plate track races on this week. We have the PTSD Awareness 250 tomorrow at 9 p.m. And it looks like all the other leagues are going to be off the next week for the 4th of July. So don't forget to tune back the next week for RSR Full Throttle as they go to Kentucky for about another thrilling one smaller track. They just were at Sonoma, and that was fantastic racing as well. So from all of us here in the booth, myself, Austin Coop, Kelly Dahl, and Cisco Scarmuzza, we do want to thank you for tuning in. And from the team at home, Evan Pasoko, Andy Kessler, Laura Lawson, and DJ Lyon, we want to say thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next track.